Hello YouTube and welcome back to another game of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. We're going to be continuing on with our best 7 series here before it is over. Of course, it's going to be the WCS Championship. It is the grand final. I know we're well behind. I do apologize about that, but we are catching up. So, we've got ourselves Polt, we've got ourselves Snute. It is a Terran versus Zerg. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Let's get into the game, and as per usual, of course, if you have not seen the previous games, I really recommend clicking the links in the description, which will take you to those. Definitely not advised to start somewhere in the middle of a series. That would be terrible. So at about 1 minute, we're going to have spoilers here with the scores being displayed on the bottom left hand side here, so definitely make sure to watch those previous games if you haven't. So, on the top left hand side here, we've got ourselves Polt from Team EnVyUs. By the way, at the time of this tournament, he was teamless, and he's from South Korea. His opponent's going to be Snute, who is on Team Liquid for, I think, 3 years now, and he is from Norway. And our score, as it stands, is Snute 1, Polt 2. So let's see how this game develops. Very shortly, in, to be honest, 3 or 4 more games, depending on how these go. So we are 3 of 7 games so far. In 3 or 4 games, we're going to start moving on to the more recent games. At that point, we will be seeing the new maps, which I must admit I have not seen yet, not in detail. I haven't studied them, so it's going to take a while to adjust to it, and I hope that it's going to be as fun for me as it will be for you guys. Of course, if you have been watching more recent games, you're probably more familiar with them than me at this point, and might know some of the strategies that are evolving around that. So definitely going to be interesting to see the developments that we have. So let's see, Polt bringing his barracks actually quite far out, and the fun fact here is that he's actually started off with 3 barracks at the very beginning. Definitely a weird kind of start, and just to note, he's bringing himself a bunch of Reapers out of that. And that's a supply depot, so I wonder, is he going to bring another Reaper out of that? Is he? Yes, he is. So this is going to be a lot of Reapers coming out here from Polt. I do wonder if he's trying to go for some sort of all-in here. That would be a bit of a risky move, especially considering the fact that this is not a proxy, so these are going to all the reinforcements will be moving back from the base, and looks like he is queuing up more and more of these. So let's see how many kills he manages to pull off with these Reapers. I think that at this point, I mean, all that Polt really needs to do at this time, or sorry, Snute, is just bring out a few queens, and then this Reaper attack is pretty much done for. So he's killed off, I believe, just 1 worker so far. Yeah, that's correct. He's got himself 2 Reapers here, 2 more reinforcing, so that's 4, and unfortunately for him, this Overlord showing exactly where they are. Now, queens definitely don't want to be off the creep. They're going to get caught out. Oh my god, it's 1 queen going to get caught out here. That's the second one as well. So that is 2 queens that Polt has taken out. These Reapers are really making work here. Now, just to note, in the meantime, Polt is expanding. Not a huge deal considering what's going on here. I mean, if he continues this aggression like this, he could potentially end this very quickly. And then that second base probably won't go into effect that much. But as you can see, Roach Warren is now complete for Snute. Snute is going to be potentially starting to bring out a few Roaches soon. Roaches, of course, very good at dealing with Reapers. And looks like he is actually counterattacking here with these Zerglings. Now, this is actually a good choice for him. He basically forces all of these Reapers to go back and defend the base. Otherwise, these Zerglings would eventually overrun them. And oh, nice surround here. Doing so much damage, and so many of these Reapers have been taken out. This is huge. 5 Reapers have been taken out so far. 20 Zerglings, and of course, 2 Queens have been sacrificed for that. But that, I believe, is pretty much it for the Reaper army. Is that definitely it? Yeah, just looking at the minimap, there is nothing else here. So that was an absolutely huge deal. The fact that he managed to surround all of those Reapers and take out most of them is a game changer. I mean, all of the advantage that Polt had because of those Reapers has now effectively been denied, and now these Zerglings are even inside the base. Gonna start taking out a few workers now. The mule probably is worth killing considering how fast it mines, even though it is a free unit technically speaking. Let's hit the units lost tab again. I really like to watch this when these early aggression games start, because the early aggression it's very important how it ends. So if one person gets very far ahead in the early aggression, then after that it's just so difficult to get, you know, to catch up to that. Because for example, if you would have left it at those 2 lost queens, then Snute's economy and his production, well, economy I suppose is affected as well, since the larva injects would be affected, but basically those 2 queens are very expensive also. So that's 300 minerals that will be wasted, and that is a huge loss if you don't take anything in return for it. And these Reapers at this point are pretty damn useless. He should definitely, and correction, he already did. He stopped making Reapers at this point. He knows that this is being warded off, and there's not that much that can be done about Snute's expansion. So he is seeing this extra expansion here, so 3rd expansion on the way. And by Snute's expansion, I actually meant his growth rather, not just, you know, the actual technical expansion. Looks like level 1 ranged ground weapons and Carapace is on the way for the Zerg. And we've also got ourselves Infestation Pit. Now I do wonder if that's going to be used for Infestors or for Hive Tech early on, because 6 minutes in, he could technically start a Hive. I mean, he's got the resources for it, he's gotten himself the tech for it, and he's definitely in a good position to do it right now, considering how bad Polt's Reapering harassment ended up. And just to note, this is a massive bio army. I mean, that's 4, 5, 6, 7 barracks. 7 barracks would be so vulnerable against either fungal growths, or even if you went for the Hive and got the Ultralisks. Now, Ultralisks would take quite some time to get, so probably makes sense to go for those fungals for now. Which actually is exactly what he's doing. He's got himself 3 on the way. I do believe he's got a few already made. No, he doesn't. So 3 on the way so far. And that is it. Now, don't count Polt out. Just because he lost a lot of Reaper resources there does not mean that he's out of the game. I mean, look at this army. It's actually quite scary, considering the fact that the Zerg army is just Queens and a few Ravagers. I mean, that could be wiped out in seconds. Let's see, this base could get denied. Now, does he have transfuses? He does not. So this hatchery, there we go, getting destroyed. And this is exactly what Polt wants to do. He wants to continue that harassment, continue the denial of resources. And fungal growths, he does have enough of fungal growths. There we go, some of them being fungal growth there. A little bit late though, I have to say. And he is getting surrounded right now. 60 supply to 38. I think this is looking very, very bad right now for Snute. Polt might take this game if he continues on with this. All of this army is so low right now. So he could take them out all, well, most of them with 1 fungal growth. But is he going to be able to hold off here? He's only got a few roaches remaining. And looks like Polt is not stopping. He is not interested in letting this go. He wants to continue and advance in his aggression. But was that a good decision? There's a bunch of roaches in position right now to defend. The one thing I have to point out is that Snute is barely ahead on economy, but at the same time, he managed to hold this off. The only thing that I have to say is that he needs to back off right now before this reinforcements comes in, because that is not going to end up well for him. Consistent Marine Marauder reinforcements does not end well for just a few roaches and Ravagers. Ravager Cocoon? What? And that is pretty much that. What is Snute creating right now? It looks like he's making roaches and a Ravager as well. Now his economy is not doing that great, but he is expanding here, so that is definitely something that, if it doesn't work out, it's a waste of 400 minerals. If it does work out, if he can get any resources out of that base, then that could play really nicely for him. Now Polt has not seen that yet. But the absence of units might kind of indicate. Now, if Snute loses this hatchery, that'll be fatal. That could be it for him. Now, he's falling behind on economy as well, so this is definitely looking really, really well for Polt right now. And he needs to be careful. He needs to play out this, worry about every single unit, because if he loses too much, that Marine Marauder army will just overrun him. And looks like Polt is doing just that. He's just flowing those units in. It's like water leaking out of something that can be leaked out of. You get the point. This is not going well for Snute right now. I mean, Polt is just continuously reinforcing his army, and this is exactly what I think he needs to do. He just needs to deny this base as well. I mean, if he gets that denied again, I think that'll pretty much put the nail in the coffin, or the final nail in the coffin. And is he going to give Snute a breather? I don't think he's seen that yet. No, he has not. So there is going to be a few roaches coming out of that, but is it going to be enough? 29 supply to 57, and most of that supply is actually still on the way, and these Marines and Marauders are getting taken out again. I mean, there's only a few remaining here. There's roaches coming in the back, although they're getting kind of surrounded. He should definitely bring them back and stay with the main army here. And Snute is just hanging on for dear life right now. He doesn't have a great economy. And Polt is not interested in expanding, because Polt knows that if he stays on equal bases and just continues the way he's doing it right now, he will probably win. But the one thing I have to point out is he is mined out on his main base. In fact, he's even decided to lift off this command center and just bring it over here. Now this has got to be the hold off of the century from Snute. And funny enough, he's actually doing better on economy at this time, simply because his main is actually not mined out. Once this is up, and I do believe this has just been spotted, so this is actually quite a good thing for Snute. He might be able to sneak a few Zerglings up here, or maybe not. Oh no, look at the size of this army. That is a big army. And once that marches in here, that might not end well for Snute here. I mean, the army supply is so close right now. 62 to 53. And just a note, Polt has stopped making units for now. His army is very big. It's a very scary army, but he has stopped reinforcing. Now 2 medevacs are on the way. If those medevacs get here, that'll be actually a lot more difficult to destroy from Snute here, because medevacs of course do offer that support with the healing. And at this point, Polt has just gotten himself 2 fresh bases of resources. So essentially, as soon as Snute is mined out, and he is mined out in the main, that might start favoring our Terran player here, because he will have the continued reinforcements all the time. And I'm just clenching right now, thinking, how is Snute going to pull this off? I mean, what does he know? He pretty much knows of both expansions, both at the top and on the left. But he's holding off here. There is some fungal, or not fungal growth, but corrosive biles going down here. Some good damage being traded here, but is it enough? No, it is not. The Terran army is starting to come ahead here, and there we go. GG has been called. Polt takes game number 4 here with 3-1 as his score. So really have to say, well done to Snute on that one. I mean, he held off really well there, I have to say. He didn't quite hold off enough, but definitely did do better than I expected. I thought that would be over a lot earlier. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this game. Don't forget to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, of course, if you want to see more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.